tonight. This is a story that I've been wanting to tell for a long time. It's really a story of redemption, and really the reason why a big reason why we started this ministry was because we believe that Jesus can change lives. So, Sean, I wanted to just sit down with you and kind of go through some memories of what these past 3 years have been like. And I'm going to start with the day I met you. That was about 3 years ago, over 3 years ago now.
Good morning, Brian. Yes, it's been over 3 years now.
Yes.
More than 3 years. 3 years, 4 months, maybe?
Yeah, so back then I used to go to this, I was going to the soup kitchen at the time, and I would always pray. I'd always pray in the morning, ask God who He wanted me to meet, and write down notes in my journal. And that morning I wrote down some notes, and basically they said, I got this vision, in my mind's eye of this tall man and with a beard, white man. And one of the other things I got is I heard this still soft voice of the name Sean. And so I wrote all this down, and then as soon as I get to the soup kitchen, I saw you walking across the room, and you were with your wife. I didn't know who she was at the time. And I go, that's the guy, that's the guy. And that week I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but the following week I saw you again and came over. And I remember it just seemed like as if you weren't really in the mood to talk. Do you remember all that?
Oh, yeah, we were all tired. That place wears you out, just being in the shelter. We'd only been there a month, but a month was long enough. And the way I found out about the soup kitchen was, I've got a daughter, and they barely feed you there as it is. So I was like, where's the best place you can eat for free? That's cheap, clean, it's basically a safe place to go. And they suggested Holy Family Soup Kitchen. So we headed on over there.
So again, at that time I didn't, it's the first time I ever saw you. Soup kitchen, definitely people are in need if they come there, but I had really no idea what was going on in your life. What were some of the things that you were struggling with at that time and your family were struggling with?
Homelessness.
Yeah.
And what was causing that was addiction and alcoholism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that I had to really deal with at the time.
Yeah, and well, I'll tell a little bit more of the story, because then we'll come back to what really was some of the health problems that resulted from that. But
health problems that it causes, right?
But one of the cool things is that I met Sean, and again, I said, hey, we're over here, we're praying. It didn't seem like it was going anywhere, so I just cut it kind of short, and I said, I'll be over here. And then that's when I asked him what his name was, and he said Sean. And I go, wait right here. I had my journal with me, thanks be to God, and I went back, I got the journal, and I showed him, and right there were some of the things I wrote down in prayer. And I go, Sean, look, I was praying. I believe that God sent me down here. I was supposed to meet you. And for me, it was just a really powerful experience. I don't know what you felt at that moment.
Well, I'll tell you, from my perspective, is that we had just eaten, and we were sitting there waiting for what they call the Woods bags. They hand out this bag for the day. It's got sandwiches, drinks, goodies, anything that'll just get you through the day.
Yeah.
Something you can snack on later if you get hungry. So we were waiting for that, and we were sitting in that little waiting area over there by the chapel, and you were standing there with Lisa.
Yeah.
And remember, you kept looking at me, and I was looking at you, and then you came over and we started a conversation. And you said, I have something that's going to really probably amaze you. So I was like looking at Erica. I'm like, okay, it is. You walked away, and she's like, well, this would be interesting. Let's see what he has to say. So that's when you came back with your journal.
Yeah.
And you showed me in your journal what you had written down, almost to the T.
I even had the height. It was
height. Yeah.
I didn't have the exact height, but it was
You were
tall
6'5",
man.
but it was off 2 inches, 6'7".
Yeah.
And we were just absolutely amazed.
Yeah, and so that was kind of. We didn't talk much more that day, but.
Well, we couldn't. They were kicking us out. They
Yeah.
kicked us out at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so it was cut kind of short, but I came back the next week and I saw Erica and your daughter, Elizabeth, but you weren't there. And I went up to Erica. I said, hey, do you remember me? And she said, oh, yeah, I don't know the exact words, but she definitely remembered. And I said, that's when she told me, she said, Sean's actually in the hospital.
She remembered you because she called me afterwards.
And she told me about you being in the hospital and that you had had some kind of, what happened, you passed out at the soup kitchen or something like that?
Yeah. I wasn't getting my blood pressure medicine, and I wasn't eating properly, so, it just all came to a head, and I passed out.
Yeah.
Hit my head on the floor.
Wow.
They took me to the hospital. So I was in there for a couple of days.
Yeah, so I asked Erica, do you think that it would be okay if I go up to see Sean? She gives me the room number. I go up there, again, thinking, this guy's going to think I'm crazy. And but really felt as if I had to go see him. And I come in the room, and we just started to talk again, just like friends, right? It was...
yeah, it was like I've known you for years.
Yeah, so one of the things I remember is you started to really open up then. You talked a little bit about your addiction and some of the health problems it caused. I think at the time you were dealing with congestive heart failure. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so pretty serious stuff. And one thing I do remember is you kind of were going through this thing of, hey, I've been trying to get on my feet. And every time it seems like I'm about to get on my feet, something happens.
Right.
And you said you had some kind of job interview that day.
I had a huge job interview that day, yes.
Yeah. And I remember us talking about that, just going, geez, every time seems I'm about to get there, something bad happens in my life. Mm-hmm. And the health problems and the addiction, all the stuff, Right. And so I was able to, I myself had come out of addiction, struggle with it, knew the problems of, trying to maintain jobs, a stable life, and all the struggles I went through. And so I started to share some of that with you. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I did is I really said, hey, I do know one thing, I tried a lot of different things. I tried to do it on my own power. I tried even rehabs and all these things, and the only thing that helped me was the day that I said, Jesus, I need your help. And I was freed from that addiction. It was definitely a struggle still, but I was relaying this to you. And then we started to talk about that moment, right, of, that was just pretty amazing. What we call a word of knowledge, right? That God would bring me to you, that he told me certain characteristics about you. And I think I remember saying something like, hey, if God told me these things about you, he knows everything about you. And then, that was really, to me, I think that was an impactful moment. I don't know what was going. I remember you saying something like you and Erica had been talking that week about that moment. Do you remember, can you explain a little bit more about what that moment, what that did for you and your faith and where your faith was, and then what that did for you?
Well, I was sitting in that hotel, sitting in the hospital bed in that room by myself, and I'm just thinking. I just had that attitude where nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody knows. Knows about me. Nobody knows where I am. My wife and daughter. They were going to come up to see me, but just really felt like I was alone in the world. There was nobody there. And then you came in, and something really just changed in me. We talked, and after our conversation, after you had left, I was thinking to myself, we did pray, we had a really good conversation. Something touched me where I was like, wow, there is someone out there that actually does care, that actually took their time out to come to see me. And that really sparked something in my mind that it is possible,
Yeah.
for people to be kind. And
But as far as your faith in God, where was it at?
I didn't have any.
Yeah, you were basically your
yeah.
faith had
Faith.
just, you weren't praying,
Wasn't praying,
nothing like
wasn't
that.
Wasn't practicing my
Yeah.
faith. Nothing at all.
So that previous week, that kind of the word of knowledge, what did that do for your faith? Did it spark something?
Definitely sparked something.
How about Erica? What? Same with her? Were you guys talking about it?
We were, to a point. We knew that something had to change.
Yeah.
And something was going to change. But it was just a spark, and it grew. It wasn't, wham, this big miraculous change. It was something. It started small, and it just started growing.
It's kind of like that seed of faith.
Seed of faith,
small,
exactly. You
small
planted that seed of faith.
Yeah. And then
where I actually changed. It was a change in my mindset. Where when I felt alone, nobody was in this world. Nobody cared. There wasn't a care in my mind that, I was on my own.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you came in and visited me that day, you planted that seed in me.
Yeah, definitely. And then we exchanged information, I think.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know how long it was. Maybe a little bit of time went by, but then you reached out again.
We kept in touch with each other.
And it seemed as if things were even getting worse, right? They were. You were gonna get kicked out of that one shelter or something like that.
Getting ready to get thrown out of that shelter.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to change. Erica didn't want to change, but something had to change that day, and it did. It changed my life. It changed It changed Erica's life and my life at the same time.
Yeah.
We did some drugs and we overdosed, and they took our child from us.
Wow. Yeah, I just remember the hurt and the pain and one of those days, it was right around that time, I think you reached out to me, I can't remember, but I just remember feeling an urgency in the situation, and I said, yeah, I'll come down and meet you at that library. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I wrote this, I just said, Lord, what do you want me to say? And I wrote a couple scripture passages on there, and I think I put $50 in the thing. I go, Lord, what do you want? I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and I just put $50 in there, and I thought, I'll do it. And then I remember Erica opening up the card, and she just started crying or something like that. Do you remember that at all?
Just at that
it was
moment,
kind of like
really needed it. We needed to pay our phone bill, and we needed the phones on so I can, receive phone calls for job interviews and job prospects.
And I had no idea all of this was going on. I didn't know.
Right, we and from everybody.
But it was, again, God knew right time. Yeah. So another breakthrough moment. God just coming through, showing you that He's there for you. Somebody cares. Not only me, but God is showing, hey, I'm here, I care. And then that's when we started talking. I had this real desire to continue to see renovation of houses on the hilltop, and I was starting to learn the trade. And I went to my friend who I was working with, Tim Wynn, and I said, Tim, I've been talking to this guy. He has experience. He's just going through a rough time. Would you bring him on the crew? And So basically, that was the start of this amazing friendship. Well, another, and you were brought onto the crew, but another, here's the,
Right,
here,
it was an amazing turning point in my life, but
Yeah.
that's not the end of it. You know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Just, something really life-changing. Not terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible at the time, but something really life-changing had to
Yeah.
happen to me for me to wake up and realize that Jesus is out there. He loves me, and he wants to see me do right. But he had to show me
Yeah.
in his way that I could take this all away from you, and you're gonna have to see how it feels not to have anything.
Yes.
My family got taken away from me.
Yeah, so at that moment, again, Sean calls me up, hey, I need your help. And basically, Erica had gone away, right? And then they...
Yeah, Erica decided to go into Maryhaven.
Yeah.
Put herself into inpatient rehab.
Yeah, and then Elizabeth was taken to... Where did she go?
She went to the Department of Family and Children's.
Mm-hmm. And then...
They checked her in.
And then so you called me up and said, hey, Brian, there's this woman who's going to let me stay in this, it was kind of an abandoned house almost, right?
Basically, yeah. She had gotten it through the shelter system. They paid for a year for it, but she didn't have the money to get the power or gas or anything turned on, and wasn't ready to move over there yet. So she said I could stay in there. But the week before that, before I moved in there, I was wandering around the hilltop, sleeping in a spare room of a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And you were picking me up. We just started going to work.
Yeah. And then
So it was
so...
just like this new beginning. I mean, it was just,
Yeah.
like I said, it just started to grow.
So I basically, I gave you a Bible.
Right, you gave me a
I
Bible.
gave you a Bible and a candle.
I was reading the Bible by candlelight.
And there was no power there.
No electricity.
No electricity, no heat, right?
No air conditioning, no heat.
But it was
summer.
Yeah, so thanks be to God, it was summer. But basically I said, hey, Sean, I'll pick you up every day for work. And here's, when I go to work, I usually listen to praise and worship music, or I'll have, there was a priest on there who had the show, Father Ricardo. Yeah, and I said, sometimes I'll be listening to this. And we would sit on the way to work and talk or listen to that, and we would do these simple prayers. I'd say, Sean, hey, let's just try to say a simple prayer. And basically we were, just going back to the basics, right? About, hey, this is how you pray.
Right back to the basics.
And so I remember one of the prayers, later on, you'd said one of the prayers that really changed you was a very simple prayer. Can you explain that prayer that you said?
Oh, man.
It was the one about, I just want my family back, something like that. Do you remember that?
I do recall it. It's not word for word.
I mean, you don't have to give a detailed description, but just that general
It was just
feel.
a simple prayer for Jesus to give me the guidance, give me the strength and the faith to work hard and just move forward from my situation to get my family back.
Yeah, so we every day, it was just one step at a time. Like you said, there was a lot of trials. There was a lot of difficult situations, and we went through so much together, and it really bonded us. And I'm trying to think. I know one special moment for me was when we went to Mass together, and I went in the back. I said, here, take this rosary, and then I'll go and pick out another one up from the back. And then when I came back, you felt electricity going through your hands or something like that. Can you describe
Just heat.
the heat?
Electricity and heat, yeah.
And you said it lasted during Mass or something like that, right?
The entire Mass.
The entire Mass.
Burning up on the inside.
Yeah.
I just couldn't cool off. I was just burning. I mean, literally, it was not a painful burning fire, just a hot burn, just throughout my entire body, which is was making me sweat profusely, and I was looking at you. I was like, Brian, I can't stop sweating. I don't know what's going on. You know, I just couldn't stop sweating.
So it's been definitely the Holy Spirit has touched your life, even your health. Even your health improved, right?
We prayed for healing on the congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's gone. Congestive heart failure
It's
is
gone. It's gone. Yeah.
I just deal with the AFib now, which is a little bit more serious.
But you've never had that filling of fluid again?
No.
No. And really no hospitalizations,
No
right?
hospitalization since that one day.
Able to maintain a job, for 3 years now. And here's just the best part of the story is that Sean was able to get his family back. And describe that for you, what that was like, and you were able to get back into a living situation that was stable.
Joy and elations, I have to say. Once Erica got out of her rehab and we were reunited, that was great. That was a great day to get my wife back, because she means the most to me. It's my best friend, my companion, my confidant, everything you can ask for in a partner.
Yeah, and
she's such a great person.
It's been a joyful experience for us all. It's not just one person involved. You've come into contact with some amazing people that have just helped you. The parish priest, Father Dury, has been backing you up.
The Rices.
The Rice family. There's so many people that have come, and we can't do this on our own. And but one of the cool things for me, one of the coolest things is, at the time, the ministry was just a vision. Do you remember that?
It was just a vision.
And I would sit and tell you, hey, this is what I feel like God wants to do. And
that was just a seed planted.
Yeah. And you were a huge part of that. I feel as if God sent you to me just as much as he sent me to you, because
most definitely.
A lot of this stuff we couldn't have done without your help. And so a big part of that is this ministry house and the first ministry house, which we're going to try to show the people at home a little bit about what this house is about. Can you just describe, before we show everybody, maybe do a little walk around the house, can you describe what exactly it's meant for you to work, and just going to work every day, and not only going to work, but working with us, praying together, seeing how this is really God's mission to rebuild this house in this area that has been plagued, but what it's been plagued by, right? Because you lived here, right?
I lived here twice already.
Yeah, and so what this area has gone through. Can you describe what it's been like for you to work, and to the dignity, the accomplishment, what the things you've been able to accomplish through God's providence, through his care, through his strength he's given you to do these things? Describe that a little bit.
Oh, the feeling I get when I work here on the house?
Yeah, and just what we've been able to accomplish.
Oh, tremendous amounts. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. It's great to come. When I drive up to this house in the morning, you just see it. I don't know, I just feel like there's a glow on it. You just tell it's the house on the hill.
Yeah, the house.
House on the hill. It's great. It's everybody in the neighborhood knows about it now. They know about Urban Encounter Ministries, and when I come here to work on it, I just feel this elation, just this joy. It's a joy to work on this house. Yeah. And it just gives me great motivation to come here
and you've done beautiful work. We've did the first ministry house, right? We got that up and going. Yeah. Built a Marian grotto, and this place really, we just can't wait to show you some of the work. And most of all, I see, well, there's one last story I want to tell, and this is really cool.
There's big things in store for this house here.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Well, this is the one thing I do want to share is, God was actually giving you, when we were talking about the ministry house, do you remember you came to me and you said, hey, I had this dream?
Yeah, I had the dream. It was pretty vivid. It was you and David Flannery standing out front with your hands out like this, and there were people coming up from up on the grass, the front yard.
And you said, I saw you on this house on Eureka Avenue, right?
It was on Eureka, yeah.
Well, we had no idea that we were going to get a house on Eureka Avenue.
No idea.
And the gentleman who we asked if he had any houses, he said, I have two. One's on Ogden, one's on Eureka. And if you wouldn't have told me that dream, who knows what would have happened. But I thought that was so cool that because you were really stepping into, you were open to God's move in your soul and your spirit, and you relayed that dream to me, and that dream came to fruition, right? We ended up getting the house on Eureka, transforming that house. That was our first house, and God showed you in a dream that I would be there, and that would be the start of our mission.
I surrendered myself to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Gave myself away, and it's just he was waiting for me.
Yeah, so that was cool. So we're gonna maybe walk around the house and just show you a little bit what we did here, and
beautiful.
Yeah, and I know there's just more and more transformation in Sean's life. It just continues every day. There's more and more, and it's all really just Jesus, his ability to transform lives. I never tire of telling people about what he can do, but Sean is a walking testimony of, it's like a Lazarus, that he came back from the dead, really. I mean, so many people, we see them every day out here, right? And we know how a good percentage of the people end up out here. They either dead or just, the suffering that they go through on the streets, homeless for however many years. God really raised you up from dead. You're just such a living testimony and a great hope for so many. So I hope this story really inspires a lot of people to realize that, first of all, God does love you. He knows you. He knows everything about you.
He does.
And you have so much to offer. Sean has just really just been a great witness to what God has planned in your life. And so I can't wait to show everybody a little bit around the house, and we will keep you updated with Sean and his amazing walk with the Lord.
There'll be more to come.
Amen. One of the pillars of the ministry is revitalization. So we talked about how Sean was revitalized through his relationship with Jesus, how he transformed his life. But we also really were passionate about revitalizing houses on the hilltop. And this is our second ministry house.
Oh, definitely.
This is the men's house. We took a big leap of faith getting this house. It was we didn't know this at the time, but it was a drug house. So that people used to come in here. Yeah, it was, I think, a flop house where people would come in. They use heroin and probably fentanyl, and then they just crash here. And the house was just in terrible shape. So a lot of work went into this, but we knew Jesus was with us the whole time. And one of the coolest things is when we knocked out this wall, it formed this cross right here in the center there. And we really knew from the beginning that the Lord was on this. He wanted this house to be transformed into his house. And that's been one of our hallmark verses is Psalm 127. If the Lord doesn't build the house, its laborers labor in vain. So as you can see, Sean and I and many others worked on this house, and it's just been totally a transforming work for myself
And for me at the same time.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of this house, Sean? What?
Right now, the chapel.
Yeah. So we're gonna go show you the chapel right now.
But before we move, funny story. How there was such a bad drug house at one time. When we first got in here, we were working before we knocked the walls out. Somebody was knocking at the door, and I answered, and they were looking for somebody to get in here to buy drugs. I was like, no, they don't live here anymore.
Yeah. We literally have people that come in off the streets, and they come in here, they can't believe it, and they say, oh, just a year and a half ago, I was getting high in that room. So it's amazing to see the transformation that people, like you said, they recognize it.
Just one more thing, just know how bad things were at one time. The parole officers came looking for somebody who had lived here at one time to come pick them up. So you could see that it was such a bad, just a blight on the community around here.
And it's beautiful now. It's really transforming. We do our praise and worship, have new believers night here where we bring in people who we're trying to transform their lives through the power of the gospel right here, right at this table. Every Monday we have dinner, and it's beautiful. People are coming to know Christ here. Let's go see the chapel.
Great place to eat and gather.
This is our chapel. This is the attic of the house. And this is one of the things that we're most excited about because we know that prayer and worship is really at the foundation of our community. And we transform this area into this chapel. It's still under construction, but next is going to be the altar over here. We'll have an altar here, so we'll be able to have Mass when we host priests, and we hope to have a lot of priests coming through here and saying Mass for us and using this place for a place of worship and prayer so we can intercede for those on the hilltop, those caught up in addiction, those caught up in sex trafficking, and all the ills that are around here. We really believe that it's not going to change unless we continue to pray. So this is really at the heart of this house. So thank you for supporting it and continuing to support the construction of this house. It's going to be really the finishing touch on this house. As a ministry, one of the things that we're committed to is revitalization. And I'm over here at our Marian Grotto. This is the first house that we had as a ministry. And we built this grotto. We really believed that we wanted the Blessed Mother to be praying for us and a place to honor her. So we built this grotto. It's not finished yet, but I'm here to just make an appeal to you to help us revitalize this area of the hilltop, not only spiritually, but actually with brick and mortar. So we're moving forward with doing some construction projects, and the biggest one coming up in the fall is going to be the reconstruction of a women's house, where we want to totally come in, rehab the house, and then bring in some women missionaries who will be able to come and preach the gospel, walk alongside of some of the women that are here in this area that so desperately need the help that these women are going to offer them. So I appeal to you. I just ask you to partner with us on doing that. It's really easy. You can become a monthly partner. You can go to our website, uem.life, and on DonorBox, it's very simple. You just get on there. You can do a one-time donation or a monthly donation, or you can even designate it strictly for, hey, I want to donate towards a chapel. I want to donate towards the construction of this women's house. Or if you want to support one of our missionaries, it goes a long way in spreading the gospel in this area. So thank you for everything. So what I would like you to do is take this video, share it with somebody, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. We're going to continue to put out content on it. We want to build the viewership of it. So please go subscribe to the channel and really help us build this ministry up.